Many times in this course we've referenced the structure of an existing web page by getting elements using JavaScript. Here, for example, I've referred to this element, the element with the ID info, which is a div, and I've used the document object with the method getElementById, and that lets JavaScript manipulate that particular element. Well, it turns out you can also create elements using JavaScript, so that will modify the structure of an existing web page. And here's an example. It's the createElements.html sample page. And look what's going on here. This method is called when the page loads from the body tag, and this is what happens. It uses the document object and it uses the method createElement, and I pass to it a string, so that tells it I want a div element to be created. Then I create a text node, so that's a simple string that goes here that says hello from div, and finally I create an element input. And then I append the child, a div, that's my div element, to the body of the document. So I put the div inside the body. Then I append the child div text to the div. So I put the text inside the div element. And finally down here I set some attributes for the input element, and I append the input to the body. Now the end result is that I create a page that has the same behavior as though I'd written this HTML. So here's the div. So I create a div, create element div, and I create a text node which says hello from div. And the text node is added to the div, a div.append child div text. So that has the effect of putting the text inside the div node. And that's my div. Let's go back to my JavaScript. Uninput, document create element input. Here's my input down here. And let's have a look how I modify that. So I've said uninput.type. I set the attribute for input, and I put the type equals text. That's simply the string text, and here's the HTML equivalent. And uninput.value equals hello world, and this is the HTML equivalent down here. And so then I append the child uninput to document.body. That means I put it inside the body tags. Okay, so that's the HTML equivalent and the JavaScript equivalent. And when I load the pages, I can verify that I have created the same results. So this is what I see in pure HTML. So that's this HTML which I've written explicitly here. That creates this result. And here is my JavaScript version. So this time this is this page that's loaded, the one that's been written up here, the one that I'm really interested in. And the end result is exactly the same. So this shows that you can create elements of a web page, that is, those elements which are normally, if you were writing pure HTML, represented as nested tags. You can create those in JavaScript using the document object createElement method, and by appending the various tags that you create as children, that is, as nested tags of either the body of the document or specific other nodes or tags which are capable of having children. And this is a very useful feature of JavaScript when you want to manipulate the document by creating elements dynamically, and we'll look at an example of how to do that in the next lesson.